regard to traits, I go out and talk to a lot of people about leadership. That's one of the interesting things. When you go out, people expect me to talk to them about leadership, but I always end up asking audiences, what do you think good leaders do? What are good leaders' traits? And here are some of the things that I hear again and again. The first on the list, always, character. Having a great character. It's a character, it's a trust that has to be earned. It doesn't come on a silver platter. And leaders know they have to guard their character more than anything else. You guard your character more than anything else. The second thing that good leaders know is that there has to be a vision of something better. You know, leadership is not about managing so much the status quo. It's about changing something in the status quo for the better. We can train a lot of people to manage the status quo better and better, and thank goodness there are those people. That's a very important function. But the leader always sees something that's that extra spark, has some vision for how to make something better for all of us, not for the leader, but for the people the leader serves. And it's that extra spark, which means that the leader tries to bring that vision into focus for the people that he's or she is serving. The third thing is leaders have energy. You know, you've got to be able to make the meetings. You've got to be able to meet all of the demands that are going to be on you. If you have a posture of serving others and not just yourself, you've got to sacrifice a lot in your schedule, and that's appropriate. What I've discovered going out and talking to leaders is that leaders are often very energized. They want to go out and be with others, and they find it an affirming experience when they've been able to bring people together and articulate a vision that moves everybody forward. Fourth, leaders have a moral and spiritual voice. We saw this so poignantly at Penn State in the recent crisis there. You know, when the students went out and began rioting right after the coach there, Joe Paterno, was fired, the response there caused a lot of attention on the fact that there was not a voice for those students. The students were hungering for some kind of voice to articulate where the school was going to go, how the school was going to heal, how this big family, this big team, much bigger than the football team, of course, was going to put it back together. They were hungering for that moral and spiritual voice, saying that this is a lot more than about firing a coach. This is a crisis that needs to be addressed. That voice wasn't there. And so the energy, all the energy they had, the outlet for that energy was turning over cars and, you know, burning things, and that's obviously reflective of a lack of leadership, a tragic lack of leadership, because if a leader had been able to step in, then those things wouldn't have happened. This connects to the fifth point. Leaders are able to motivate. They're able to motivate others to think about something besides I, me, mine. And you hear me say that a lot. Leadership is not about I, me, mine. It's not about, you know, one's personal agenda. It's about that bigger vision. For example, in our case here at the Hauenstein Center, it's about Ralph Hauenstein. You know, and he never had to say that. He never had to come to our staff and say, you know what, I want you to lengthen the legacy of Ralph Hauenstein. But if you have somebody at the top who has such integrity, has such character, has accomplished so many things, been a leader in so many arenas, you want to serve that person. You want to lengthen their legacy. Ralph motivates by his being. Good leaders motivate by the integrity of their being and their ability to bring people together, because they do have goodwill for others, and they have that knack. They have social skill. They have a knack not of dividing people, but of bringing people together. They go into a room and they search for the things that unify people rather than divide them. Now, they have the capacity, say they're running a political race, they certainly have the capacity to see what divides people. But their basic posture is, when they come into a room, is not, here I am, you know, and you just need to hang on every word I say, but there you are, and you, and you, and you. And I can't wait to get to know you. And I'm going to find out what our similarities are, and I'm going to try to bridge those similarities so that we can do things. I used to watch, you know, I worked for Governor Engler for 12 years. And I used to watch how he would work a room. It's remarkable. He would take people who didn't have hardly anything in common with each other. Come on in. Hardly anything in common with each other. And he would find very quickly what issue united them all. And he said, what we're going to do before we do anything else is find that issue around which we can rally. And you see, that sets a group on a pattern. It positively reinforces a very important point, that we can cooperate. We're not interested in dividing each other. We're cooperating. We're working together. Because once you have that little success under your belt, it's easier then to get to the next success and the next success and the bigger success. Engler always used to do that. He was brilliant at it. Even though the room would, you'd go to Congress as a governor of Michigan, and you would see every person in Congress wants to protect their district and get their money, and they're very territorial about those things. But he found that way to cut through that. He could motivate people toward a consensus and common action. I like to say, following Robert Dallek, that leaders have a sense of good luck. They're survivors. Leaders are survivors. They have a way of, every leader has numerous challenges, but they work hard, they create opportunity, and they survive. I had the honor of speaking to the president of Poland, Lech Walesa. This was in 2006. And I said, President Walesa, what is the criterion that you look at before you make an important appointment to somebody, or try to bring somebody onto your team? And he said, well, if they're generals, do they win battles? There's an element of luck there. And some people have it, and some people don't. And you have to be able to be a discerning individual to see it. The other thing, seventh element here, is leaders know how to navigate the politics of their organization. They know what's going on up above their organization, and they certainly know what's going on below their organization. They know the resources that are available from above, and they know the support and the divisions and the trials and all the things that are brewing below. So they're looking at how their organization, it's like an ecology. How does their organization fit in to this institutional ecology above and below? And it's very important because they understand their primary responsibility is to be a steward of the institution that they lead, a steward of that institution, and a steward thereby, by extension, of the community that institution is a part of. They are a steward of something much greater than themselves. Again, it's not I, me, mine. It's a much bigger thing that they're keeping their eye on. And those of you who've heard or seen the Paul Hilligans video, Speaker Hilligans does a great job hitting this point about being a steward as a leader of the institution, by extension, the community. Well, those are the primary, the 7 or 8 baseline criteria that I'd like to throw out there that leaders have in common. These are just little traits that I've collected over the years talking to a lot of people. If you talk to me next year, it's likely to change a little bit. The list changes as we grow in our institutional knowledge here at the Hauenstein Center. But it's basically going to rotate around those. Any questions about those traits?